We were talking about Portland has a pot problem. May sound like a good problem to have, but apparently too much marijuana is leaving shops and farmers with mountains of unwanted bud. And our pot surplus is the topic of this week's, here it is right here, got to show you this, Willamette Week cover story. We're joined now by the co-author of that article, Katie Shepard. Katie, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
Always appreciate it. There's actually a weed surplus in the state now. How did this happen?
The surplus happened for a couple of reasons. One was last year we had a very mild summer and a mild fall. So the crop just exploded. There was so much growth and farmers lost virtually none of their crop. So the harvest was huge. And the other factor that played into this is that the OLCC was giving licenses out at an extremely high rate. So essentially anybody who applied and qualified for a license got one, and that led to a lot more farmers than in the 2 previous years and a lot more cannabis than had previously been grown. And we ended up with about 1.1 million pounds of cannabis, which is about 3 times as much as Oregon smokes a year.
Unbelievable. What's this doing to the price of pot? I would imagine it's just plummeting at this point.
Yeah, in October the price fell by about 40%, and it's pretty much stayed that low. It hasn't really come back up. And the farmers and the dispensary owners that I talked to do expect the price to go up maybe a little bit as we move through the summer months, which is their busier season. But they don't see it going back up to the levels that it was at before October.
So how is this affecting the pot retailers? And do you have some folks out there going, I'm just not making enough money right now. I'm not sure I can cut this?
Absolutely. There was a dispensary owner I talked to named Don Morse who had been in the business since 2010. He moved his dispensary to Portland in 2012, back when it was just a medical marijuana shop. They transitioned to recreational when recreational marijuana was legalized. And so they had been in that spot since 2012, and they closed up shop on New Year's Eve of last year because they just couldn't make the numbers work.
I'm also hearing that more pot farmers are thinking about starting up in the state of Oregon this year, despite all the surplus of folks out there now. What's going on there? That's
right. The OLCC has enough applications for licenses to double the amount of people in the cannabis industry. So we could see about twice as many farmers and twice as many dispensaries if all of those licenses are granted this year.
What's the solution to this then, to the surplus?
People have different ideas about what to do here. Some people think that the OLCC needs to put a cap on how many licenses it grants. Some people think that the regulators should stay out of it and just let the market adjust, and some people will succeed and some people will fail, but that's just the way that the market goes sometimes. Well,
it's fascinating to watch, no question about it. Katie, always good to have you on here. We appreciate it. You can check out the story in this week's edition of Willamette Week on newsstands now, or read the article online at wweek.com. Also in this week's issue, more on the backers who want to bring a baseball team to Portland and a hoppy reason to visit Camas. Deb? Okay.